Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 929 for the 9th of September. And there is still more frontline changes after the frontline changes report over at Medvedevka. In the Kursk front, there is some Russian claims that was invalidated, as well as due to the Ukrainian having a new geolocation over this area here. And so this confirmed that the Ukrainians have made progress and over in the Medvedevka and Vetrino region, and there's a high chance that they have captured Medvedevka, but we did have already reported this before on the 26th of August. And there is also a very high chance that the Ukrainians actually have full control of Vetrino as well. So this is there's something to note. So the Ukrainians do have some kind of advantage here, but they have not break out from this area here. Pretty much still stuck at this area. So there's and then another frontline change is over Makievka. I spell wrongly. How do I pronounce this? Okay, Makievka. And so there is a geolocation of Russian forces. This actually corroborates the Russian mapping and invalidates Ukrainian mapping. So the Russian mapping actually is slightly more correct around this area here. So we go into the strategic and tactical reporting. So this time around, let's go from the Kursk front. Let's go it around. And before we go there, there is geolocation of Ukrainian MiG-29 getting destroyed by Garand drones at Kryvyi Rih Air Base over here. So there's some strike in the parking lots of the airbase, so that's something. There's also another geolocation that's rather important over at Kursk. There is a missile strike on the train station, so the train station got struck by a Russian missile. So allegedly, according to military summaries, a geolocator, he said that this train and air defense system in Kursk. So no idea. I have no idea what is it. So it's okay. Just want to let you know that there's a missile strike at the train station. We go into the Kursk front. Kursk front. Sounds almost the same. At the Kursk front, Ukrainian forces continue their offensive. In the Kursk offensive, they are not giving up. They are five-pling down. No doubling, tripling, four-pling, five-pling. Five-pling down. So the Ukrainian forces attacking in multiple locations. So we're going to go front by front. Over the western flank, Ukrainian forces are attacking the 10Y Oktyabrsk. And there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces at Kamarovka. But this is not, it doesn't change the front line. This is exactly where the Ukrainians previously was geolocated. And the Russian forces are still putting pressure on Vishnevka, Snagorsk, Papanasovka, and Vinebzanoe, shelling at Obukovka, Sverdlikovo, as well as Novo Ivanovka. There is geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting hit by a drone just off Snagorsk. Generally, the red arrows, just take it with a pinch of salt. Most likely it's just fire attacks like drone strike, artillery strike, air strikes, and not ground offensive. So this is something to take note. But this generally strategically nothing have changed around here. We move further up to the northern flank. At the northern flank, Ukrainian forces are attacking at Kirinevo. As mentioned just now, there is some advancement for the Ukrainians north of Ogovka. Ukrainians are still attacking Kremianoe. And then there is fighting reported at Novoya Storichina, or it could be just shelling report. There is clashes over at Malaya Lognia. This one was already mentioned just now, the shelling reported at Novo Ivanovka. So the northern flank generally seems to be, the Ukrainians seems to be focusing on this side of the front line, Kirinevo and Kremianoe and Ogovka, the northward direction. So let's see how this develop. Generally, there is still no strategic change. This is pretty much where the front line was, except that the Ukrainians captured positions around here is more advanced than the Russians mapped it, and is a bit more than what the Ukrainians mapped it. So this is the situation around at this area here. So moving into the eastern flank. At the eastern flank, the Russian forces are putting pressure on Cherkasskoye Parashnoye, Martinovka, and the Ukrainians are attacking at Martinovka and Mikhailovka. And there is also Ukrainian attack over at Cherkasskoye Konopelka. Russian forces shot Kazacha Lopan, Svertiklovo, I already mentioned just now. So this is a strategic situation over in the eastern flank, particularly over the Sudzha region. Similarly, the front line is very static. This front line have not really changed much at all. It's pretty much the same thing. The strategic situation didn't change. The Ukrainians haven't managed to break out. Over in the southern flank, uh, other than this, of course, this already mentioned, Cherkasskoye Konopelka, Russian forces are counterattacking in the Ulanok region as well as Borki. So that's about it. No frontline changes around here. Ryba claimed there's frontline change over at Ulanok, but that's because their mapping is not so accurate. So there's no frontline change over on the DPA side. In terms of shelling side, in terms of the shelling, there's still some focus over in the Klushkiv region. Shelling is reported at Yampil, Svetsa, Pervomaisky, and Klushkiv. But generally, this is of course still 19 kilometers, 20 kilometers at least from the border region. And yeah, Ukrainian forces still have some presence around here. That's why there's shelling over there. The shelling over in the Vrozba region is over at Bilopilia and Bayaro Lazachi. So this is continuing to be the pressure on Tekino, and it's amazing why somehow there's still no attack by the Ukrainians into Tekino region. I'm not sure why it's the delay. I'm not sure why they are not trying. Like no, as if it's not an active front line, but they are getting struck every single day. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure. So over the Sumy region, there is shelling reported other than at Sumy, Kindrativka, and then some of these other various locations near the border region. These are probably just reserve positions. So that's about it from the Kursk front or the Kursk front. Over in the Kharkiv front, at the Kharkiv front, the Russian forces continue to attack Hotivka, Lipsy, Voschansk, and Volchansky Kotori. So this Hotivka one continued to be reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. So very interesting. Wonder if this will become some kind of a real push into the Ukrainian territory. But tentatively doesn't look like the case. So we will continue to monitor. Over in the Kupiansk front, there is geolocation of Russian airstrike on Kupiansk. Otherwise, the Russians are attacking at Sinkivka and Petropavlivka. Geolocation of Russian forces west of Liman Pershi doesn't really change anything, but it just shows that the Russian forces are there. So this is the Kupiansk front. Over the Pischany front, we have fighting reported towards Klushkivka, towards Lozova, as well as Temakivka. Largely, it's the same strategic situation. Nothing have changed around here. Moving further south, over in the Svatove front, we have fighting reported towards Cheneshkaina, towards at Novovodyan or Novovodyane, at Makievka and Nevsky. So there is frontline changes over at Makievka, as so one is inside Makievka, confirming the Russian mapping is actually more accurate. There's also another one southeast of it, also the same situation. So, but that's about it. It's small changes. Tentatively, there is no indication that the Russians have captured Makievka just yet. So even though it's a very, very small village. Moving into the Kremina front. At the Kremina front, there is geolocation northeast of Novosadove. There is Russian forces getting hit by Ukrainian forces. So at this position, but not important. Russian forces are attacking towards Novosadove, Yampolevka, Torske, Dibrova, as well as Serbiansky forestry. But it looks like a lot of arrows, but nothing really changed strategically as well. Over the Sivers front, the Sivers offensive continues, and we have fighting reported at Krakorivka. Geolocation of Russian forces at Bilohorivka didn't change front line. Verkhomokenyamske, Sperne, Ivanodarivka, and Zvanivka. And this Zvanivka this time around is very interesting because the information actually comes from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Ukrainian side is actually talking about Zvanivka. So that means there must be fighting around this area here, and the lack of talking about Vimka might suggest the Russian capture of Vimka might actually be true. The Russians declared the capture on the 1st of September. Now it's the 10th. This report is for the 9th. So it could be the case where the Russians actually have some progress around here. The fact that there is still reports of fighting at Ivano-Darivka and Spurny might not be surprising because the front line may actually look like this. So the Russians' capture of Ivano-Darivka can still be valid. Fighting, then they still have this contested situation over at Spurny. Russian could have captured Vimka and start to push towards Sivers and in the direction of Zvanivka. So this is a possibility, but we still have no corroboration of this despite I have suspected this for some time. So let's continue to wait. We move into the northern flank of the Bakhmut front, and there is fighting reported at Zeleniansky. Geolocation of Russian forces along Zeleniansky in what we have already mapped as Russian territory, so nothing changed around there. Just confirm that the Russians are there. Russians are also geolocated in the western part of Kalinina, also doesn't change anything. Fighting is reported at Chasivya and Bakhmut. So, in the southern flank, we have only one report regarding fighting at Bilohora. They say that the Russians are advancing towards Bilohora, so but not sure what's the exact situation. So let's continue to wait for this. Moving away to the New York front. At the New York front, we have fighting reported at Druzhba, Torex, Zalizny, Nelipivka, Oleksandropil, and over towards Kalinove. Generally speaking, there is only some slight changes over in Thorax, very slight one, but not very important per se. And of course over at Pivnishny as well. The fighting at Zalizny, no, not sure what to read of it. Fighting is only at Nelipivka, not in New York, so maybe that says something. Information from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. We move into the Pokrov front. At the Pokrov front, at the northern flank, Russian forces are attacking towards Zeline Pole, Vozdevizenka, and Novotoresk. This continued to be a pinning operation. I don't expect frontline changes around here. Over the Horodivka, Novohorodivka region, Russian Defense Ministry have declared the capture of Novohorodivka, and it's likely the case because there's only a little bit of Novohorodivka that is actually not mapped under Russian control, confirmed Russian control. But most likely this is going to be the case. But as usual, because we want the corroboration, so DPA will not declare the capture yet, but this is likely to be the case. So Russian forces expanded control west of Novohorodivka after defeating the Ukrainian counter attacks towards Novohorodivka, and there is geolocation of Russian forces raising their flag at Horodivka, whereas the fighting continues at Horodivka. So the fighting at the first bosses have resumed or restarted, particularly over the Novohorodivka region. Pushing westward could be just a sign of trying to secure the position, because moving westward don't really go anywhere except that they want to take full control of the highway leading up to Pokrov. So let's wait and see how this goes. In the southern flank of the Pokrov region, at the Selidove region, let's talk about Selidove first. There is fighting reported at Selidove and Mikhailivka. And the main thing is over in the border between the two settlements, where the Russian forces are geolocated in the dachas, confirming that they have successfully counterattacked against Ukrainian positions. Ukrainians was previously geolocated around here, so this means that the Russians have overrun the Ukrainian positions. So this is something important to note. Over in the Hernik region, or the Hernik sector of the Donetsk front, Russian forces are still attacking at Ukraine's Dolinivka towards Zelany Pershe, Halisinivka, as well as Hernik. So this is probably some kind of a restart of the operation. So we have some sort of operational pause around this region. So looks like something has restarted, but we're not sure. So let's wait and see whether there's some progress. So we have the entire front line around here going up in flames. So let's see. No, this entire front line is now active. The Russians are also active over in Krasnohorivka. So over at Krasnohorivka, the Russian forces have captured Krasnohorivka after they have completed the set of chopstick around here, as they were geolocated at the very end of the chopstick. So this chopstick and this chopstick is now captured by the Russian forces, confirming the capture of Krasnohorivka. Oh, so unless they want to include this as part of Krasnohorivka, but I'm not including that. Yeah, so it is what it is. Yeah, and we move further south. So anyway, the Nevelsky collapse didn't seem to advance anymore. So let's wait and see how this goes. But I did mention it's going to take a long time because it was a very fortified region, a lot of mines, a lot of booby traps. So it will take some time. Over at the Marinka region, fighting is reported at Georgievka, and in the western part of Boyeda, there is some kind of frontline change as the Russians were pushing on the west of Boyeda. Moving further south, there is fighting reported over at Konstantinivka, and geolocation of Russian forces at Vodian, and as well as Ukrainian forces getting airstrike in Vodian. So that's about it in this area. In the Voleda Pavlivka region, Russian forces have taken the Pivdeno-Donbaska 1 coal mine. They have taken that position. Fighting is reported in the Voleda region, probably referring to this one. And the Russians was previously geolocated at Pavlivka, as I mentioned in the SITREP yesterday. So Voleda is getting very, very itchy now. Things are getting quite bad there. We move on. Over in the Velika Novoselka sector, Russian forces are now attacking Zolota Neva. This is reported by the Russian and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Both sides reported the fighting at Zolota Neva. Still the same situation. There's no indication that Zolota Neva was captured by the Russian forces. And Ukrainian Defense Ministry mentioned Shetaske. So there could be a case where the Russians have now pushed northward from Preshestivka towards Shetaske. So there's a possibility. Fighting is reported towards Blahodatne over here, as well as fighting towards Novodarivka. So the Russians are getting more and more active in the Velika Novosilka sector. So very, very interesting situation over this area here. Looks like it's starting to look like some major offensive is going to happen or already happening around this area here. And this could be a part of a wider pincer, and where the Russian forces, I can show you the big arrows. So these are the various big arrows. These are the various ones. And yeah, you can see the small arrows. And this looks like a massive pincer to me. Looks like a massive one. So let's see how this develop. Because this will still take forever to unfold. It will take a long time. So, but it does look like it to me. So let's see how this develop. Moving on to the Zaporizhia front. At the Zaporizhia front, there is fighting reported at Zerbianki, Mali Shebaki, as well as Malatomachka. But so that's all. This is a continuation of the previous Russian continuous harassment at the Zaporizhia front. Not yet an offensive yet. So and we move into the Kherson region. At the Kherson front, we have the Ukrainian Defense Ministry mentioned about fighting towards the Pridniprovsky direction. Shelling is reported at Kherson, probably referring to the strike at the train station and over at Odrado Kayamka. And this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. So that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 929 for the 9th of September. Do press the like button, subscribe. Check out the conclusion from yesterday. I talked about some important things, so you may be interested in, and I'll see you guys in the next update.